one comes from a coconut tree. I cut it because it was dry and I cut it. I glue it in here. So this part I make it like a mountain, wishing that they can have enough water to turn into a mountain, because it's not easy to be alive and no water, especially when you have kids. So that's the reason why I painted this. I don't know, my English is my fourth language. So,
and tell me what the background is made out of.
The background made out of sand. The sand? The sands. It's not a painting on it. Yeah, I put glue on it, and then I put I don't know how to explain the glue they take from the tree for me.
It's a sap, it's a resin. We spent some time, hi June.
Hi.
We spent some time looking on the internet to find out which tree it was, because she only knew the African name of the tree. And Hawa just says these things casually, that to those of us that live in America, if we're doing art, we go to Blick or Pearl Street Art Supply. She said, oh, I just sent some boys out in the woods and to scrape the trees for me to get the sticky, the juice from the tree. You said the juice.
The juice from the tree is very sticky. So I have an idea to send the boys in the bush. They get it for me, so I can be able to have this sand here permanently. And the small houses, and the matches.
These are the ribs of the tree. Those are matchsticks that she painted over, she placed and painted over. Like, we're looking at a brilliant woman who uses whatever she finds to make art with.
Right.
Tell, what is the bucket made out of?
The bucket I make it because while I was going to Africa, I went with the potato chips box, like foil. It's not foil. It's
inside bag.
Inside the bag is like a foil. So after I eat it, the potato chips was empty, and I cut it. I use it as containers for the water.
And to tell about the fabric.
The fabric, I go to the tailors, because when they're sewing in Africa, some pieces they throw it away. So I grab those. That's how I make this.
Scrap.
Yeah. Yeah. The hair is from the black, like a
String.
yes, strands. Yeah. I cut it. I make it as hair here, and the baby hair and the eye
And it's like the way that Hawa's story with me began is I was taking care of my very elderly mother, and I came down and spent 1 week each month with her in her home and the caregivers. And if you're not there, they can put on a nice face for you when you are there, but if you're really there, they can't fake it. So once I really started spending time, I saw that a lot of things that passed for care were not care. And on a day, I fired a terrible person who came to my door to apply.
Hawa Diallo. And I am glad I did that. Very happy.
It began in such chaos because I was, had just fired this horrible woman. Hawa had something wrong with her eyes.
That was my luck.
We just didn't know what would happen. But suddenly that came together, and for almost 5 years, there was a new household that was born. And it was black and it was white. And it was African and it was Russian, Russian descent. It was Jewish and it was Muslim. And I almost went to that big demonstration, the one on Wall Street, the Black Lives Matter one. And I was working on this and I thought, there's a lot of ways of demonstrating. And I want to demonstrate not against something, but for something. I want to demonstrate that some things work when people love each other and they do talent and they do artistic expression. And so maybe you can tell a little bit about how being in that house and finding your talent and the part Charlotte played in this a little bit.
the first time I walk in at Charlotte House, I feel like I'm walking into my own house. Because Charlotte home is always open. People just knock the door and walk into the house. And my parents used to welcome all kind of people and give them food. And I love that. So when I started working at Charlotte, that's what I see. That's what I saw at Charlotte home. And Crescent take care of everybody, you know. And Charlotte for her to eat good. The table have to be full with, you know, with people. So everyone can eat and enjoy. Charlotte always asks, is everybody happy?
She didn't like to eat by herself.
Yeah, is everybody eating? Is everybody happy? I say, yes, Charlotte, everybody's eating. So at that case, I started cooking. No more food order from outside, and I know what Charlotte likes to eat. I started cooking, everybody walked into the house, we give food. So I was like in my mother's house because that's how I grew up, giving. Then, never have opportunity. I was married at the age of 13 and a half, no opportunity to have education. I was dreaming, reading and writing, but I never thought I can paint. You know, never thought of it. Until the day I went with Crescent, she was giving a workshop lesson. When come to drawing part,
It's a writing workshop, but I just do like 10 minutes of the most simple drawing you can imagine.
Yes.
Just to get people loosened up, not for drawing. Just, I'm not an artist. I'm just 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Cousin said, Hawa, come on. I think you love this class. Come on. I walk into the class. Cousin and David give us papers and drawing pencils, you know. Cousin say, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. We say, okay, let's go. We started drawing. That was my first time in my life drawing something. I was like, oh my God, I can draw. You know, everybody was like, how are you doing good? This is good. I said, I love it. So 2 days after that, at Charlotte House, 10 o'clock, 2 days after that, 10 at night, I feel like a water pump in my head. I see drawing. I said, Cousin, I think I'm getting crazy. I want to draw. I want to draw Crescent. So Crescent said, David, give Hawa the drawing book and the drawing pen. I started drawing that day, 10 o'clock, 12 at night, I finished. This is the first drawing. Yeah, this was the first drawing I drew. From this drawing, I can't stop. But without Person and Charlotte support and David, I may have a little bit lazy. But anytime I draw or paint something, oh my God, how do you do this? Then I say, oh, I'm doing good, and I love it. And I love it. Then Charlotte every night, honey, what we are painting today? Charlotte, she was supporting me on her bed. She cannot get up without me and my assistant helper, but she was helping me on her bed. Every time I finish painting something, I walk into her bed and say, Charlotte, look what we'll do today. She said, what we'll have today, honey? I said, look. She said, oh, it's beautiful, honey. It's beautiful.
One day Hawa called me on one of the weeks I wasn't there. She called me in Vermont and she was kind of worried. And she said, well, I always tell Charlotte when I'm going to paint and when I'm finished. And so when I finished and I came back and I said to her, Charlotte, I finished my painting tonight. And she said, how is it? And Hawa said to me, I said, Charlotte, it's beautiful. And she said, yes, honey, but how it make you feel here? And when you later told it to me, I mean, I didn't know this over the phone, but when how it make you feel here?
Inside of you.
Inside of you. And if I'm remembering right, you said, oh, Charlotte, it feels like a bag of cement has been...
Yeah, I said, Charlotte, anytime I painted, I feel like it's a one bag of cement out of my heart. Charlotte said, "Good for you, honey. Good for you. I am happy."
But that night, which made Hawa caused her to call me, is Charlotte said, "Good, then I guess my work is done.
Now it's time for me to leave.
It's my time is up." Wasn't that the?
Now it's time. Well then, if you feel good, honey, inside of you, now it's time for me to leave.
So Hawa called me
I was
down.
like, "Oh my God, leave and go." Yes, Charlotte, and I kissed her. I said, "Where are you going to?" She just keep quiet.
And Charlotte lived for maybe another year after that, 6 months, a year.
6, yeah, I think about 6
And
months.
you know what Hawa brought to that house was a very natural way, maybe natural in the culture that you were raised in, where old people were respected and they died at home. I fought with my brother. Hawa was there for one of those fights. And thank God you were. I think you would have beat me up if you and Fatima weren't there. We went down to the ground fighting to keep Charlotte at home. And thanks to Hawa and the other members of the team, but Hawa set the tone because she was the lead. She was there the most. And there was a little bit of stuff going on because Hawa's African and most of the rest of the caregivers were Jamaican. So there was all that stuff. And at one point, Hawa and another lady were both complaining to me about each other. And I sat down and I wrote them both letters. And I said, "You know, I'm not going to fire either of you, so work it out. You know, it's not going to be very long. We all work, you know, we basically love each other. Afterwards, it's going to be great. So just, you know, please." And they did. You know, they did. It never happened again. And Hawa set the tone. And she was so caring. Oh, tell about Charlotte and the ice cream, since we're in the ice cream world.
Well, Charlotte, it was time Charlotte don't want to eat or don't want to take her medicine. But then I said, "Charlotte, one bite, I'm going to give you ice cream." She said, "Okay." I gave her. I said, "Another bite, ice cream." She said, "Just eat." I said, "Eat, Charlotte. After this, ice cream." So that's how I used to feel her end of days, because there was no appetite like that. She loved ice cream.
And how is people, the Fulani, we're telling this in all kinds of funny order, but okay. Dairy people, they raised dairy cows. They were a pastoral tribe, and very gentle. If you go online and you read about the values of Fulani, they're very strong, beautiful values. But so Hawa grew up eating sour cream and milk and cream, and when we brought feta cheese in, you said,
I love it. I said, "This is how my mother used to make her cheese." Where do you get this? Since I came to America, I don't get this.
And there was one day, and Hawa also began learning how to read at Charlotte's house. Hawa began to tell me secrets, things she hadn't told other people, and her final secret was to say that she couldn't read, and she was afraid to tell me because the lady she worked for before me fired her because she was illiterate. Didn't help her, fired this woman because of that. Unbelievable. So we began to have someone come and tutor, and one of the big moments for us, she's made reference to David. David was my late partner who suffered from depression and took his life last year, but he loved Hawa, and so one day, one of the other caregivers, David, me, and Hawa are having lunch, and there's feta cheese on the thing, and I think it was Carlene said, "What kind of milk is this from?" And I said, "I think it's sheep." And David said, "No, I think it's goat." And Hawa said, "No, it's cow. It's cow." And so we're eating the cheese, eating the salad. Hawa gets up to go to the sink, and she glances over at the container, and she says, "No, it's sheep." And we all go, "Ah!" She read the word sheep on the feta container. We go, "Oh my God, sheep!" She didn't even know it's sheep.
Yes, you know, then I love to read and surprise them, you know, because I started reading, it's fabulous, you know. They are very good to me. Persons, he changed my life in the good ways. Without her, I would never know I can do this.
But see,
It was hidden.
It was
inside of
hidden.
me.
Tell about the painting up there called Hidden Talent. It's the middle one up there among the scenes of that.
Yeah, that painting is my face on it, my picture on it. I wear my hair traditional hair as planning, like a you know, like when we have in a marriage or something. Those ways that. Then I took picture. From that picture, I painted on that painting. So I call it hidden talent because my talent was hidden for so many years. I don't know I can draw or paint. So that's the reason why I call it hidden talent.
I mean, I think that the talent was hidden to her as well. That's what made it such a privilege and joy to be around. Is, you know, it's like almost like when you go grow a garden and you plant a seed and you watch the seed come up, and then pretty soon you see buds. And every day you run out to the garden and you wonder, did it open up into a flower? Well, Hawa just kept flowering all over the place. You never knew the next day when you came up what she would have done the night before. Wow. But, you know, it was sort of like a circle, everybody helping everybody. You know, Hawa gives me more credit than I deserve. I mean, in that household, in taking care of Charlotte, everybody was giving each other something that nobody else could have given, I don't think. But so Hawa, tell a little bit, walk us through. So here's a bunch of your early paintings. You want to say a little bit about those?
Well, it's only abstract paintings. You know, after this one, then I just want to draw. All these are like a painting, you know, like a painting drawing. It's not a, how can I call it?
Like a paint pen?
Yeah, paint pen. I use paint pen on these ones. It's not painting. So then I see the color. I love the color, but I don't have the painting. So I call my son, Diallo. Yeah, my older son. I said to Diallo, President taught me how to draw like 10 to 15 minutes, but I found like I love this because anytime I'm drawing, it's like taking a bag of cement from my heart. Take stress out, you know, it's helping me. I said, come on, help me. I need the paint, you know, the painting. I need painting, not only the you know, the yeah. So he was in North Carolina. He came. I was off from Charlotte that weekend. We went to Manhattan and looked for painting. That's how I come up with acrylic. Like those are acrylic. Those before Charlotte.
Then now we're moving to the middle.
Yeah, the middle. Yeah, the middle. Because this one's abstract about women have to protect their children, the ABCs, like help your children so they can get.
And see, as she was learning to read, she was painting. So show where you put the alphabet.
The alphabet are here. Excuse me. I put the alphabet in here. Like a woman should protect their children by helping them being educated. This one is like when you have somebody to help you for education, grab it. That's why I put here like a hand. You grab when you have somebody to help you to be educated. Because me, I know how hard to not be educated. This one is woman. I don't want to talk about it. My children are here. So what is, you know, you know, it's all, it's, they can, you know, you can read it. It's there. Not today. So after these ones, I started doing acrylic. Those after Charlotte. That trend is, the first one is about me and present.
Yeah, see, she's Fula, and I told you I'm Russian. So sometimes when and I'm always very busy, you know, running around. So she would joke to me, you're a Russian woman, meaning like a pun. And so we said, full of Russia, Russia full of Russia full. So she did that painting of Russia full of
woman, because the woman with the tree is a very powerful. So as two person has to be very powerful. Crescent and I, she introduced me to exercise. I exercise a lot, you know. She and I, we used to work hard.
She had never worked out before. We watched those videos and we did them. We went on walks together.
She gave me exercise videos. Now I can't stop exercising, which is I love it. So I said, sure, Crescent, you and I, we are full of Russia at the same time because we are strong women. So that's the reason why I painted that one. The tree with the woman.
And then the next two, Charlotte's town was Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, and you take the train to go out there. The train goes along the Hudson River, and there's the Palisades on one side, and Hawa.
Yeah, then by thinking how Charlotte used to travel a lot from Westchester County to New York, I thought, let me go get that train, headed into New York, and I put the Hudson River there. The mountain, if you see the waterfalls, it's right where I used to take train from Hastings and Hudson. When you look the mountain behind, mountain have waterfall. So that's why I use, you know, that idea and put it as Charlotte train.
And once again, you know, she didn't just go to the art supply store. She went, some of that mountain was dirt from my mother's backyard. She just went out and scooped it. What did you mix it with?
Well, I went at Charlotte backyard. You know those animals, how to call it, one day I run away from them.
Deer?
Deers. You know, one day I went for a walk, I saw them, I said, well, I never see this. Let me not continue my walking. I come back, I said, David, I saw something. It's like a cow. David said, what? I said, I went for my walk and I saw an animal. I don't know. They don't, you know. Oh, then person say, oh, it's a deer. Deer, they don't do anything to you. I say, well, I don't try. Let me make sure first. So deers come to Charlotte backyard at night. So that's when they lie down, it's a dust then. That's where I grab those dust. That's how I make that mountain and the train, Charlotte train, mountain. All those is from Charlotte backyard. From those deers where they, you know, used on the dog.
And this reminds me of one little Hawa Crescent story. One day I got my hair cut and I came back and Hawa said, oh, that's a beautiful haircut. And we were just sort of at the beginning of knowing each other. And she said, in my country, when a man likes a woman, he give her something. And I said, like a ring? And she said, like a cow. and then she said, I think when David see this haircut, he give you 7 cows.
Right, yeah, because that's my culture.
So we were just learning all the time, and this, you know, it was interesting. It was just, we were so interested to learn. And so, okay, so you painted the train, and then when did you paint that portrait of Charlotte? Tell about that.
That, I took, Charlotte used to have a black and white picture on her
mantelpiece above the fireplace, which used to be the living room, and after Charlotte couldn't do the stairs, we changed the living room to her bedroom. So it was downstairs, and on the mantle there was this very beautiful black and white photograph.
Right, I took my phone, I photographed that picture because I can't take it away from the house. I know it's a souvenir, very good souvenir. So I took a picture from my phone and I developed it. I showed that from that picture, this Charlotte, and I painted. And that time, a lot of people tell me, as Muslim, you don't do face, you don't draw faces, you don't paint, especially when you put the face, don't do the eyes, the person's eye. Well, I was asking people ideas, what I'm going to do. I love this. I want to do Charlotte, you know, painting. And somebody said to me, well, if God puts something in your head, and God, being Muslim, non-Muslim, is God put this on your head, then you can develop it. You know, it's like, I don't want to do it, but I love it. And I've been like Charlotte said, well, honey, now it's time for you to be happy. You're making people happy all your life. Now it's time for you to be happy. Charlotte said that all the time to me. And I see this as my happiness. I said, well, I will trust Charlotte and develop it. I know God won't punish me from this because it's nothing wrong about it, you know. So that's how I painted that, and I love it. Since I started painting or drawing, only this one don't give me no problem. I think because of the love between me and Charlotte, I just started and easy. I painted and I draw it and I painted easy. Yeah.
I'm remembering one night, you said because of the love. Help me remember this story. Once Charlotte woke you up in the middle of the night, before you slept in the room, you were upstairs, and did she ring a bell or call or what? You came down in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I used to come down a lot to check on her.
And you said, are you all right? What's wrong? Do you remember this time?
I came and said, Charlotte, sometimes even if I don't do any voice, when I walk into her room, she opened her eye. She said, honey, is that you? When I said, Charlotte, she said, what, honey? What do you say, honey? I said, Charlotte, you not sleep? What happened? She said, well, I'm not sleeping. I said, what do you want? She said, well, I need a massage. I said, massage? You look like Charlotte? Then I massage her hands, you know. She said, thank you, honey. Thank you. I said, okay, now go back to sleep. I'm going back to sleep.
Now another time, again, Hawa was first living with us. Her English was not as developed as it is now. I speak French very mediocrely. She speaks French. French is her second language. She speaks it very well. And as I recall, in the afternoon, I was teaching Hawa the meaning of the American vernacular phrase, when the shit hits the fan. and Hawa is listening to this explanation, and she says, so when shit is hitting the fan, you don't want to be near the fan. And I said, no, you don't want to be near the fan. So that's the afternoon. So then it's the evening, and Hawa has just met David for the first time. And she says, he's very sweet, très doux, meaning very sweet in French, très doux. And I said, merci. And she said, mais le deux doux. Yes, but the two of you are sweet. Le deux doux. And I said, Hawa, you want to be careful, because in English language, de doux is very close to what you don't want to have hit the fan. Well, at that moment, Hawa looks at her watch. She's in the middle of giving Charlotte this elaborate series of eye drops, which you have to give like 7 minutes apart and 3 minutes apart. And my mother has seemingly been lying there in bed, eyes closed, we think, asleep. And Hawa says, Charlotte, time to open your eyes, time for your eye drops, open your eyes. And my mother, with her eyes closed, says, I don't have to open my eyes to say doo-doo.
Everybody was like, Charlotte, we thought you were asleep. She said, do I have to say doo-doo to open my eyes? I said, Charlotte. Everybody was like, yeah.
So, I mean, so we had these enchanted kind of 4 years. It wasn't that it was easy. You know, Hawa and the other caregivers, it's very hard physical work, and you kind of have to be able to float with the rhythms of the person you're taking care of. It's very hard work. I had an impossible brother who kept trying to undo, he made chaos at every turn. After I fired the mean caregiver, he burst into the house to sneak up and make sure that they were doing okay. He tried to sneak the bad caregiver back one day. The cat ran away from the bad caregiver. And my brother, whose horrible girlfriend thinks that they're such cat people, said, Hawa, why did Tumbleweed run away? And Hawa very innocently said, well, I don't know. You're Tumble. You're Tumble. The cat comes running up to me.
I opened the door because Tumbleweed ran away from the house when she saw them.
See that?
Then I opened the door, I said, Tumbleweed, Tumbleweed, run and come to me. I said, Tumbleweed never run away from anybody. Why he run away from you guys? You know.
So, I mean, they saw the whole drama. They saw the good and bad of the Zolotow family. There was everything. There was Jamaican food, there was African food, there was music, there was laughter, there were fights sometimes, you know, the whole thing. But, you know, gradually our families became a new kind of family. And so Hawa, meanwhile, was painting, and she was doing things on cloth.
Oh, wow.
Tell how you do the printing on the fish.
Well, just the way I grew up, my father used to farm rice. And anytime the rain, when it's raining, like 1 week after, 2 weeks after, fishes, some places, when the water is stable, fishes start coming there. And I love to look at that. So I put this as fish conversation. You know, like they're talking to one another, because anytime like they be together like this, you see the water bubbling. So they are talking to one another. I don't know why.
So there's well, you said when we talked before, the big fish.
No, the big fish is here.
Oh, what about this one? The little fish wonder if they're going to be eaten? Was that one?
Yeah, it's not this one.
That's the big one? Okay.
It's this one.
Okay. And she cut out like a paper and painted through it.
Right.
To make the... No, this is the little one. This is the big one.
Yeah, but this one is wondering, like the fish is wondering, like what they are, you know, like this one too is like, oh no, you're right, person. I think your mind is better than I.
Well, no, I was writing it down when you told me last time.
Yeah, you write it down. Yeah. So this one, these fish are wondering whether they are having conversation to come and eat them. You know. Yeah. Yeah. So this one is different.
And then this one you said was the fish convention.
This is fish convention.
And you know, the amazing thing, Hawa hasn't told you very much about her life, but it was not an easy life, and a lot of sad and terrible things happened to her. Her people, there was a lot of prejudice against. She had to leave her homeland. She had to cross over from the country of her birth. She escaped across a river into Senegal with 3 children, pregnant with a 4th, and I think 3 of those children are here now, aren't they? Yeah. Fatima, Abraham, and Sheila, and they crossed the river with their mother, and they were in a refugee camp in Senegal. Hawa told you she was forced into a bad marriage at 13. She didn't get to get educated, and yet when she paints, look at all of these beautiful colors. She finds, you know, so much. You know, even though those rice fields, when they were flooded and the fish came, are no more, she managed to reclaim some joy in painting it. She managed to bring it back. And so earlier, Katie's mother was saying, well, what is that technique? Is it batik? Is it what? And I said, well, it's Hawa. Because to be able to make a piece of cloth like this is not a technique. Tell what you did on this. Talk about this.
Well, it was time. I thought I have a lot of different ideas, like to transfer maybe one day on fax, on clothing, you know. So this is a collection. Or if I want to transfer them to a canvas, each room is different than the other one. They're all different. So this is like a collection, you know, collection, if I can. In French, collection, right? Yeah. different drawings.
And now let's pause for a minute and talk about a little bit about your past and these pictures that are from your life in Africa.
Well, I start from the here.
Okay.
The Morning Bar Mountain. Morning Bar, the mountain, the big mountain. How you doing? Just Kimberly. The name of the animals on the Morning Bar, I think frogs.
They make a little sound.
No, they don't make a little. So that Morning Bar is in Guinea. That Morning Bar is in Guinea, the biggest mountain in Guinea. It's very rich.
Hello.
Very rich mountain. And I know, I saw it on newspaper. And I know the story about it. So that's the reason why I felt like that.
And then the second one.
The second one is about my mom and myself and my younger brother. Because my mother used to own a house. And she used to do cheese, she sell cheese, she sell milk,
Get their hoodie.
and her food. People come and rent to them for farming. So the black and white one has a name. All of them, my mother named them. All of them have a name.
And if you go on the Facebook page, I asked Hawa about a lot of the paintings and wrote down the stories. So I have the names of the cows that she told me about.
The next one is in Mauritania. It was very busy in Mauritania today. People was happy, the lady getting water from the well. Because most of places you have a well to get water from.
And see, when Hawa says it was peaceful, it was happy, she's talking about a homeland. She will never go back to that country because of the terrible things that happened. You know, everyone knows about Rwanda, but they don't know so much about what happened there and the, if we can say, smaller genocides that happened in other parts of the world. She's told me she will never go back. She says that there's still much slavery there, and yet through her art, she managed to remember the happy part of it.
Of course, yes. That's why the trees are happy, the houses beautiful, you know, and the birds are happy. It was so peaceful. Yeah.
Was that where your father had the rice fields where the fish came?
Right.
And then we talked about hidden talent.
Hidden talent, if you take a look at it, is my face on it, my picture on it. That is, the brain is like a Fulani culture. This is how we pray, like when we get in married or big program. I pray my hair like that and take picture. From the picture, I put it there, paint it. But then I said, this is hidden talent because I never know I can paint. I never know I can draw or paint. So this was hidden inside of me. And now it's out there, but it's still, I make it like a hidden talent.
It's an amazing painting. It's an amazing painting. Okay, and then the next film?
The next one is the second Mauritania village. So this two is like a twin. We can go to the house on Sakina village. Like Sakina village. That is my great grandparents' village. The village is still look like this. Only the houses is different. But the river is still there.
And is that Guinea?
In Guinea-Conakry, the village named Sakina. So the river is still there, but it's not fresh like this because now they're running away from water. It's no water like before. But I imagine like the way they explained to me about the village, so I painted like this.
So Guinea-Conakry then, and Guinea